Ben Shapiro had this conversation on Triggernometry.
If you're a young person and you can't afford to live here, then maybe you should not live here. I mean, that is a real thing. Yeah, I know that we've now grown up in a society that says that you deserve to live where you grew up, but the reality is that the history of America is almost literally the opposite of that. The history of America is you go to a place where there is opportunity. And if the opportunities are limited here and they're not changing, then you really should try to think about other places where you have better opportunities.
This guy says, you do not deserve to live where you grew up. Whatever this is, I'm not that. This person says, citizenship means you deserve to live where you grew up. It's your birthright. Never let anyone sell your birthright for a bowl of GDP. Citizenship is greater than capitalism. I'm sorry about that. I understand. New York is a special case because it's like a very small area with a whole lot of people in it. And of course, in that very fixed area, it's going to keep getting more and more expensive. You know, the supply of land is gone and there's a lot of demand for it. So it's going to keep getting very expensive. And Shapiro in the full clip.
Well, we need rent controls.
Yeah, they have rent controls, of course. Shapiro in the full clip talks about that. He talks about regulations, rent controls, stuff like that have made it too expensive. And these people that are upset need to be talking about the things that have actually made it too expensive to live in New York. And then he says, but at the end of the day, like if you can't afford to live here, you got to find somewhere else to live. And I agree with that. I'm sorry that it sucks, but it is possible that your area could grow up so much that it could become unaffordable for you to live there if your income is not.
Nashville's getting that way.
Yeah, it's getting very expensive.
Yeah.
And if they attract a lot of people who are working very high income jobs in that area and you're still working, you know, at the gas station or something like that, but then they keep bringing new people in who are doing whatever this super expensive job is that they're doing, the cost of living is going to go up in that area. It's just sort of the way it works. Only way you can have, like, you can always afford to live there is if you go live out in the country somewhere, like away from any big cities where all these massive populations are going to go. When you find people like, yeah, we've had this since 1885, you know,
or you
like
pass down,
where it is.
or you pass down housing through families or something.
Yeah,
I agree with PJ here. He says the word "deserve" makes me crazy in pretty much every context. The people who are like, it's my birthright. I deserve this or that. Like, why?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you deserve it? Prove it. Prove that you deserve it. On what basis? The world and people owe you nothing. No one owes you anything.
The word deserve.
No one owes you anything.
The word deserve deserves no time in an economic conversation in the same way that should. The words deserve and should rarely ever be used in an economic conversation. They deserve no time.
Yeah.
In that at all. I mean, sure, I use both words
you
in my
can
explanation.
Think to yourself, and this is a good exercise to do, like, oh, I deserve this. Then you go out and prove it. You prove the value. You prove the worth. You know, this is something to do at your job. You're like, oh, I deserve a promotion. Well, go fight for it.
Mm-hmm.
You know? I've done this many times where I'm like, I agree. I think that I should be making more for what I'm doing. And so I will go to my boss and I will say, hey, I've got these offers from these other places because I'm a pretty valuable person. And, but I want to stay here because I like what we got going on. And I need this much money to stay or I'm going to go somewhere else. And I can tell you it has worked every single time. And if your value is valuable to a business, to your job, to whatever, it will work in almost every situation. Now, you do have some bosses that are just pure dicks that if you try to do that, they'll be like, see you later. They ignore the value that you bring. But you have to be assertive enough and you have to fight for what you're worth. If you believe that you deserve something, you prove it. You prove that life would be worse without you.
Well, you deserve it by earning it.
Exactly.
You deserve it by, in the case of labor, making your labor worth
merit.
Whatever it is you're asking for. In the case of somewhere like New York, which is what Shapiro was talking about, and I guess this would only go for the people who vote like Democratic all the time. You don't deserve to vote for terrible economic policies and then still deserve to live as if you didn't vote for terrible economic policies the whole time. You lose your dessert in this scenario. Okay, many of these people are getting exactly what they voted for, and there are people who told them that what they were voting for would lead to where they are right now. Just like there's people telling them that what they just voted for in the last election is going to lead to something worse. And then later on, they're going to say, well, I deserve, a Mom Donnie voter is going to be like, well, I deserve to be able to afford to live here. I'm like, no, you don't. Look what you did. Look what you just did. You put your name next to that person right there. You said that they should do these things. You agree with everything that they did. You don't deserve it. You don't. You deserve to have to leave because you're part of the problem. You just are. There was another, I don't know if it's important. It feels like I'm thinking too much about Israel and Ben Shapiro when I bring it up. But there was an ironic, Ben Shapiro is an American, okay? Can we both agree he's an American? All right. Tends to talk about Israel quite a lot. Very supportive of Israel, greatest ally. And I did see someone make the point that Israel, if you're a Jew and you want to move there, like they'll give you a lot of money to live there. So you can live there because you deserve it, because 3,000 years ago someone said that you deserved it because of who you are. And so there's, I can't deny that whole idea of people being like, well, this is my birthright as a Jew. It says it right there in that book that I deserve to live here.
It is kind of ironic that Ben Shapiro's talking about that when it comes to Israel. Now, how do you settle land disputes? I mean, throughout history, it's been by war.
Yeah, that's how you settle.
Like, oh, we conquered you. We drew these lines. We raped all your women and stole your food. And now you belong to us.
It wasn't bad enough. We took your food, too, at the same time. Those bastards.
Yeah, I mean, and then now you deserve those things. How do you just settle land disputes in the modern age? I don't know. I mean, probably not as gruesome as it used to be.
No, it's less gruesome.
The war's pretty bad.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's a pretty bad war, yeah.
Yeah. So
pretty bad stuff.
But it is ironic. Now, I think if I remember correctly, when the whole Zionist movement happened, they tried to go about it. It seems as if they tried to go about it in a semi-capitalist way, where they raised a bunch of money and tried to buy people out of their homes. But then there was also some nefarious activity that took place.
Yeah.
Like if you go into an area like right now, you can buy whole towns in America. You can go in and you buy a whole town and you're like, I deserve this town because I bought it, and you can pass that down to your children, whatever. In a way, that route is much more capitalistic or freedom than, overtaking someone. Because again, you have the right to pursue whatever you want to pursue as long as you don't hurt someone in the process.
There was some shady stuff that went on when it
That's
comes
what I'm saying,
to that
nefarious and shady things.
Capital, they went about it in a capitalist way. They did in fact try to buy some land and stuff. But it was a little bit more complicated system. It wasn't as if the people on that land just held a deed that was filed in the office over in Court 7, and they went and had a nice deal where they both signed a piece of paper. Like it was a little different than that for sure. But it would take me like 36 hours to tell you about that. So
you might as well listen to Martyr Maid.
Yeah, just listen to Martyr Maid instead.